You ever get that feeling that so much of our world is just, well, a performance? So that's what we're diving in today. This clash between these shiny, fragile systems and the real, solid principles that actually last when everything goes wrong. We're going to connect a really fascinating novel to a very real, very high stakes global crisis. Let's start by unpacking this whole idea of performance with a story that just nails it. And this is the line that kicks it all off in the novel Things That Don't Break. Just let that sink in for a second. It tells you everything you need to know. The world we're about to step into isn't about having a real experience. It's about getting proof that you had one. You know, it's a world that values the image of courage way more than courage itself. And that brings us to this pretty chilling concept called manufactured courage. The company in the book, Valorizone, has cracked the code on how to turn actual terrifying risk into a safe, clean, and very expensive product you can just buy. You literally pay to be the hero in your own action movie, where the only real danger is maybe a bruised ego. What's really wild is how their whole playbook is just laid bare in their marketing. Earn with courage basically says bravery is a currency. Stand out turns it into a personal branding exercise. But risk is the new luxury. Wow, that says it all, doesn't it? It's them admitting that for people who can afford it, even danger is just another curated experience. And this is where we get to the real heart of the book, this core tension. On one side, you've got Valorizone, desperately trying to engineer failure completely out of the system to create this perfect performance. And on the other, you've got the wisdom of an old-school engineer, whose whole philosophy isn't about preventing failure, but designing for it. He knows things will break, so he plans for it. This is where it all stops being theoretical and gets kind of scary. The novel shows us these automated systems that are working perfectly by their own rules, but are completely blind to reality, like an AI kiosk that can't help an old woman because it can't read her eyes through her cataracts. And this leads to a devastating conclusion. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It's just that its design no longer includes seeing people. Okay, so we've seen the theme park version of this. But what happens when that same logic, that obsession with a clean, automated performance that has totally lost sight of its purpose, leaks out and starts running our actual, vital institutions? All right, let's pivot to the real world here and talk about the Green Climate Fund, or GCF. Its mission is absolutely critical. It's the world's biggest climate fund, designed to get money to developing nations. But what happens when the organization designed to fix the world's climate has a major crisis of its own? On the one hand, you have this incredible world-saving promise. But on the other, anonymous employee reviews paint a picture of an internal structure that's just completely falling apart. I mean, that quote, that's not just frustration, that's a sign of a massive, massive disconnect between the mission and the reality inside. So what's really going on here? What's causing this fracture? Let's dive into dozens of anonymous employee reviews and hear directly from the people on the inside about what's going so wrong. And as you read through these reviews, a really clear pattern starts to show up again and again. We're talking about a toxic culture, ineffective senior leadership, and extreme bureaucracy that just grinds everything to a halt, favoritism, and just terrible work-life balance. This is the chorus repeated over and over by different people. A lot of the employees point the finger straight to the top. This quote doesn't pull any punches at all, calling senior management an absolute disaster and blaming them for steering the whole ship onto the rocks. I mean, the feeling is crystal clear. The problem starts right at the top. One review maps out this chain reaction perfectly. It all starts with a communication breakdown. And when information doesn't flow, you get this rigid bureaucracy that takes over and just strangles any new ideas. That leads to leaders who are only focused on short-term board approval, creating massive blind spots to what's really going on. And the final result? Well, it's inevitable. A toxic culture where everyone is just pointing fingers. And get this number. According to one reviewer, management actually admitted that over 80% of the staff have been there for less than 3 years. Why? Because a huge number of people choose not to extend their contracts. That is a massive red flag. People are literally voting with their feet. Okay, so we've seen how these systems can completely fall apart. Which, begs the question, what doesn't break? What actually endures? For the answer, let's go back to the novel and its wisdom. First up is this gem from the engineer Ajet. Delay breaks more things than force. Now, this isn't just some cute saying. It's a fundamental truth. Think about it.
Indecision, endless meetings, waiting for the perfect moment, that's the stuff that rots systems from the inside out. It's a really powerful case for decisive action.
So, what are these things that don't break? Well, the novel suggests they're principles like these: authority that's earned through real accountability, not just handed down; unshakable integrity, that's the structure that's left standing when the flashy performance fails; the memory of good work done by a committed team; just the simple act of paying attention to human details that automated systems always miss; and of course, decisive action that breaks the paralysis of endless bureaucracy. And here's what's truly fascinating. When you look closely at those GCF employee reviews, buried in all the frustration, there's a real plea for these exact same principles. They aren't just venting, they're actually offering a path forward. I mean, just look at this advice. They're asking for independent audits and better ways to select leaders. That's the earned authority the novel talks about. They're demanding to be listened to, with real transparency and follow-through, and a leadership that isn't so defensive. You see, this isn't just a list of complaints, it's a blueprint for rebuilding that unshakable integrity the novel argues is so essential. So all of this internal chaos, it has huge implications for whether the GCF can even deliver on its vital mission. And it leaves us with a really critical question. Can an organization that's struggling this much with its own internal climate actually help save the world's? Ultimately, the novel and this real-world crisis, they both point to the same challenge for all of us. So I'll just leave you with this. In a world that is constantly demanding a performance from you, how do we build on what's actually real? What are the things that don't break in your life? And are you giving them the weight they deserve?